U.S. military brutally attacked in Syria. What's the cause of it? We have a major attack in Australia. What's the cause of it? We had a situation of a shooting in California. What's the cause of it? Well, it's one thing, and it's rooted that the evil that we're allowing into our countries. We're going to discuss again Muslims and the dangers of Islam. We're going to hear from Tucker Carlson. He doesn't say it now. You know, he acts like he's just, I guess, had this epiphany or something, but I'm going to go back to a clip that he actually had and what he stated back in 2017. Talked about it all the time. The dangers of Islam taking over and the persecution versus Christians. Somehow we want to bring up the fact of all this going on, but truthfully, the root of all our terrorists and the problems, even since 2000, has been Islam. We're going to discuss that. Then we're also going to hear what Elon Musk said about the dangers of losing religion. It's amazing how one of the smartest men in the world can honestly tell you exactly what the root cause of evil is. And he said it's when we start losing religion and Christianity. He said when we have a better, more positive outlook and we have hope and joy, and this is coming from a non-Christian now, he said the world ends up being better. Shouldn't we learn from that? Shouldn't we just listen to this man because he's actually telling you exactly, as a non-Christian, the value of Christianity to the world? Now, you can't say that about other religions, but you can about Christianity. We're going to discuss that, and lastly, we're going to discuss the financial problems. There is some major stories breaking that within the next coming days, weeks, and months ahead, we're going to see a bubble pop and market crash take place. This is coming from major investors that are pulling out of the market and also others that are telling you to invest in other things such as gold and silver. We're going to discuss what they're stating and how we should prepare ourselves. And remember, next year is midterms. So that means something big may happen to help Democrats win. Well, the president is the president, so something bad happens, it falls under his watch. Let's dive into these stories today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up because it means the world to us, and share our content. If you found something in it that does benefit you, please share our content. It means the world to us. Now, let's jump into the stories today because that is why you're here. First, I want to go to this one quote. This was from Tucker Carlson back in 2017. The reason I want to bring it up, though, because again, he's not talking like this anymore, but this is probably the most truth he's said over the last 5 to 10 years. It says, Tucker Carlson in 2017 warned about the mass slaughter of Christians by Islamists. Christians are being eradicated in the Middle East and around the world, and then no one in the world is actually paying attention. And this is why it's dangerous to let people just come in lackadaisically to our countries. Today, that's not what he's saying. But we're seeing the repercussions of what we did not do by keeping people out of our countries. Now let's talk about the headlines. Just the headlines over the last 24 hours. There was a terror attack in Syria against our military. 2 of the guys, remember, now this guy was over the Al-Qaeda and was a terrorist until he became the leader of Syria, and we welcomed him to our White House just, 2 weeks ago? All of a sudden, his security forces, his direct security forces, killed 2 of our military servicemen. Now, that's a pretty big deal, wouldn't you think? This is directly from al-Jilani's mouth in Doha when he was speaking at Doha just last week. It says, and this is, the Syrian leader, al-Jilani's publicly declared Israel and America are terrorists. Arabs are the victims. So he says that at the same time that he was just a week ago being in our White House speaking to President Trump. This is why you can't trust these people. He pushes this jihadi fulfillment, and guess what's happening? When you have these kind of leaders push, what takes place? People get radicalized. And that's exactly what happened with his security forces that took 2 of our military men out. Did you know that they had, in Syria last night, they had celebrations over our 2 servicemen passing? Did you know that in Sydney, which we're fixing to talk about, in Australia, there was a terror attack? We're going to discuss it. It was a Muslim migrant that shouldn't have been there. They allowed to come in, and during a Jewish festival, killed 12 people at least so far and injured another 29. You know what? The Muslim group down there, they shot celebratory fireworks last night. You can go and look at the live coverage of it. But did you know that guy wasn't even supposed to be there? See, this is why mass migration is a problem. Let's go back to what Tucker Carlson said in 2017, that Christians and Jews alike and people of the West are going to keep on getting harmed if we keep allowing these people into our country, because their religion will not allow them to live and coexist. I want you to listen to this Muslim scholar speak right quick and listen to how he believes that you can't coexist. He is a Muslim scholar telling you exactly what he believes.
Unfortunately, these days we don't repeat this enough, or we don't have this aqidah concept firm in our minds that Islam did not come to coexist. Islam لا يعلى. الإسلام يعلو ولا يعلى عليه. And Islam is raised high and nothing is raised above Islam. We can't think of Islam that it came to live with these other religions, in the sense that Islam is a religion amongst those religions, and they have a share with the truth. And they have a share of justice. And they have a share of, this worship of Allah, the correct worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam came to correct all of that. Islam came to remove the oppression of all those religions. And it is the only truth, and it is the only way to justice.
So they didn't come to coexist and live peacefully, like you hear people like Tucker Carlson speaking now, or you hear people like Candace speaking now, or other Democrats speaking now. They came to take over. Why can we not? It's amazing to me how we just act like this is no big deal. This Muslim migrant goes into to parts of Australia during a Jewish festival and murders people, just cold blood. Just cold blood. Same situation with the two military in Syria. Our two military servicemen. I want you to listen to what Pete Hegseth said, and it's important because he's saying he will get troops justified, and you will not harm our troops. Pete Hegseth just came out and stated, "Civis Romanus." Basically, you take over and try to harm American citizens, we will conquer you. Now, he's not saying we are on a war. He didn't say that. But what he did say, he said, it's supposed to get very serious. Now, that sounds good. That sounds great. I do believe we should have troops going into and take that guy, if he hasn't been taken already, which I think he has. I think his life is pretty much over now. But what I'm saying is, I think we need to get to the point where we call these people out as terrorists. We call this religion out as not a coexisting, peaceful religion, that it is a dangerous religion. I'm going to blow your mind. Listen to this. From 79 to 2000, 2194, 2,194 attacks. From 2001 to 2012, 8,265 attacks. Since 2013 to April 24, 56,000 attacks. This has given approximately 66,872 Islamic terror attacks from January 2001 to April of 2024. Now, what this is stating is, this may be simple as one death or a catastrophic terror attack. It says these attacks have resulted in 243,000 deaths since 2000 based on Muslim radicalization in Islam pushing their narratives across the world. Is that considered a peaceful religion? So we have to make sure that we differentiate between Christian conservatism, even Jews, even though I believe they're a false religion, even Buddhism and Hinduism. I don't see them going to the streets and massacring people. Do you? Why can't we just state the obvious with this religion? Why can we not state the obvious with this religion? Over 2,000 members of the Jewish community held a Hanukkah celebration in Bondi Beach in Australia. These two armed men fired on them. This was not just a mass shooting. It was a complete act of terror. It says 29 have been killed, 12 have been killed, 29 have been injured. On top of that, of course, the two U.S. servicemen were taken out in Syria. I mean, this is just crazy. Another one. Jews were shot at in their home during Shabbat in Redlands, California. Here's what it says. It says the gunman opened fire on the home and the Jewish family was screaming anti-Semitic slurs. The whole purpose was to get back at them. Now we see that last night in London, pro-Palestinian protesters held a demonstration chanting, "Globalize the Intifada," against the Christians and the Jews. Another headline from Canada. Canada to criminalize biblical passages in new hate speech law because they feel like it is an attack on Islamism. And Islam has set fire to a nativity scene in the Christian market in Italy. It says that Christmas in Europe has been canceled in most places because of the dangers of Islam. Now, I want to read this to you. A high-level alert has been issued for India. Now, India, regarding Jews. It says terror groups may have planned a major attack in India during the Jewish festivals and the Jewish establishments in Delhi, in Bengaluru, and Mumbai. It says they are the target and will be the target for the next 14-day festival when Hanukkah shall begin. I think it starts, the 14th or so today. It says for the next 2 weeks, the Jewish religions are on high alert all over for Hanukkah festivals and celebrations. Should we have to live in fear if we're not Muslim? If you remember what that guy said a while ago, we will not coexist. We're here to cleanse these other religions. That's a dangerous term. And until Democrats, even rhinos, until these globalists in the EU start calling these people out for what they are and the dangers of this religion, we're going to face it, and it's going to end up causing for a detriment here in America. And I mean, you're seeing it in the EU right now. They can't even celebrate Christmas. They can't even celebrate Christmas because of this. It's 2003 to 2024. In 2003, there's a report that came out that said Dublin, Ireland was one of the safest cities in the world. It was well maintained and taken care of and was shown signs of religious fervor, meaning people were living better quality lives and safer. Now, that was 2003. 21 years later, 2024, since massive migration, EU's liberal ways, globalist thinking, listen, this is a new breaking story from 2024 and 2025. It says Dublin ranks one of the most dangerous among the 10 major cities in Europe. It says the Times have realized that migration has caused for major panic in Dublin, Ireland. Ireland has become a stronghold for Muslim migrants. Now I want to go to what Elon Musk said. Elon Musk said this. It says, when you have a decline in religion and increase in secular nature of society, for most people it's a need to fulfill that void, and that fulfillment of void ends up being a woke way of thinking or even a cult-like push, and it takes the place of religion. Now, this is exactly how the Muslims have developed this. This is exactly what has happened in our culture. We've lost our sign of honoring God in Christianity, honoring our true one God, and honoring Him and serving Him. And because of that, we've allowed for ourselves to basically demoralize and to basically turn against Him. And therefore, we've turned to two things: a false religion, like Muslims, or a woke ideology. What has happened though with that woke ideology? They've embraced the Palestine movement, which is embracing the Muslim movement. It's amazing how the Muslims have taken advantage of the woke ideology. They don't even get along. There's nothing about the woke ideology that actually go and coexist with Muslims. But Muslims are so smart. Islam is so smart to use the woke ideology to make their way and to have their way. And New York is a prime sign of it. Minnesota is a prime sign of it. You know, it's going to keep on taking place. And we're just going to be blinded. We're just so blinded by it. And what Elon Musk was calling out here, he said, because we've lost sign of Christianity and religion in America, of honoring God, this higher power, and again, he's speaking as a non-Christian. He said what we've done is we've allowed for other religions to take its place that is causing harm. So I think of Muslims and Islam. But then he said also what we've done is the people that's turned away from all faiths have turned to this woke ideology. And it's then programmed our people to think that, religion's bad. So then you see woke ideology coming and taking over. That's exactly where we're at in our nation. Now we're rolling into 2026. We have some major problems with this migrant issue. We have a major problem with signs of war and civil unrest. But it all really comes back down to this main problem and religion. It really does. How can we keep our people safe if all of a sudden they can't go to a Christian or Jewish festival without a chance of them losing their lives? That report, one of these reports was from California. It's not like this is just something over in Australia or something in Europe. This is happening here, people. Yet Muslim scholar I just did, he's an American. He lives in America. So you don't think it's happening here? It's happening here quicker than you can imagine. And I love what Elon just said. Again, I don't trust Elon a lot when it comes to certain things, but he does make a valid point that what it is we've turned our face away from Christianity, away from the one true God, and everybody's looked to fill that. And we filled it with false religions that cause harm and woke ideologies. And now we're dealing with really the problems that has occurred from that. Europe is just a few more pages further along in their journey, but we're following right behind them. Did you know that they're starting to take down a lot of the Christian things in Canada? They're trying to shut down churches. They're trying to quit Bibles being printed, all in the name of hurting the woke ideology, offending people, especially when it comes to Islam. It's happening right before our very eyes. Our enemies, sadly, may be Canada and Europe before they're anything else because of what they've allowed to come into their country. And their country has changed completely. Transition to another story, and these are just a few headlines dealing with the dangers of 2026 and civil unrest, but not only that, the financial chaos that we may be facing. I want you to listen to these stories. I thought they were just unbelievable. It said, Bank of America just leaked their reports for institutional clients. It says they've revealed that the Fed is about to print $45 billion a month. What did we talk about yesterday? How we just print money and it's out of thin air. It means nothing. We're just putting our people more in debt, more into prisons. It's unbelievable. It says they're disguising this as reserve management purchases. However, what you're seeing is banks are struggling and they're needing money. We're crushing our own people and our own savings and our own dollar by printing more money. This is from an intelligence officer. It says the rise in demand of price of precious metals is about to explode because what we've seen is the market is falling, and I don't think we can hold it up with falsities and fake money anymore. Market expert Dr. Kirk Elliott gives exclusive updates on skyrocketing silver and gold prices. He said all it shows is the market is struggling. And he said, I'm scared we're going to see some major catastrophic market problems, especially when it comes to the fact that we're going right into a midterm election that to be honest with you, I mean, Republicans have done nothing to quote unquote win. They should lose this election, but I hope they don't. But if they don't start actually doing some things and passing some bills, they just show how worthless they are. But what's going to happen is because of them being worthless and because of all these problems with the market, it says what it's going to do is going to put this all on the shoulders of Trump like he was a bad leader. It was all his fault. And actually, it's just Congress, but it's all his fault. So therefore, it's going to make the Democrats easily win the midterm. They need this civil unrest. They need these problems. They need these market corrections. So then it puts them back in power. Robert Kiyosaki just came out and stated that the AI bubble could happen within the next 3 to 4 months, a major financial crash where it could just completely explode. He said, my goal is to buy golds and silvers, buy tangible real estate assets. He said, look at oil, look at all the things that matter to the world. He said, what I'm scared of is we're going to see an AI crash. And that could happen, that could not happen, you never know. But here's where I come back and state this. If we hear experts talking about the dangers of the market, and our Congress and Senate are still printing money like crazy, the Fed is still printing money like crazy. Banks have already said they're out of cash, so we're needing some influx of money. So the Fed is going to just print money to give to the banks. Free money. They didn't earn it, and now the inflation that is causing and the fact that we have to borrow it at higher interest means we're the ones that's going to be in prisons. We're the ones that's going to have to deal with the problems of this. And all these banks go into tokenization. It may be the fact that that correction, that market problem, could easily happen by next year because it for Democrats and for establishment, it needs to happen so then they can have their way and get people like the Trump administration out of the way. Did you know that we have the least trade deficit we've ever had since I think we got rid of the gold standard right now? You know why? Because of what Lutnick and Bessent and Trump are doing with the tariffs and trade negotiations. We're making more money than we've ever had when it comes to other countries. We have less debt flowing and the deficit flowing in. And yet, Congress and the Senate are still blowing more money. They're still causing for more problems. They're still putting us more in debt. So no matter how good Trump administration does, he's getting a bad name because of the Congress and Senate. It shows that they're not working for him. They're working against him because they have a plan, Republicans and Democrats alike, to be the ones in power and the ones to cause upheaval and problems so they can always make sure that the American people look to them to solve the issues. And as we see the dangers of these terror attacks, we see the dangers of these religions, we see the dangers of the woke mind virus that we were just talking about. You add that along with the AI problems, along with the fact of the market crashing, it could show for a very, very dangerous next few months. I believe you're going to see some major problems over the first part of 2026, not because they're real, but I believe that you're going to see these problems happen because this is exactly what the establishment needs to have their way in midterms. That includes Republicans and Democrats alike when it comes to Senate and Congress. I believe we're in for a very, very tumultuous next few months. Again, not because of Trump, but I do believe that they are having their way in the Washington, D.C. swamp. Guys, let me know your thoughts on today's video. I think we need to heed the warning of Tucker Carlson for 2017, warning to Christians. I think we should heed the warning of Elon Musk, stating that the decline in Christianity and true religions of serving one true God is actually causing for more adaptation in our thinking to woke mind viruses, to woke ideology, and room for false religions to come in to cause problems. Both of those things are very much true, and they're coming and showing themselves right now in our people. Guys, let me know your thoughts for today's video. God bless. Be free, be free.